Jesus is in need of some food right now. There's 5,000 people asking for food. What do you got?
Well, what I got here is 5 pieces of bread and 2 fishes.
What? That's it? No, you have to.
What do you
have
mean?
to
What do you
go
mean that's
somewhere
somewhere
else and find it.
Nah, we're talking about
Think
Jesus.
that's all he needs?
We're talking about who can do miracles. You just gotta have faith.
Math has always been a very interesting subject that we have learned since we were little. If you don't recall, how did you learn how to count to 10? Well, if that is something that you forget, quickly pull out your hand and you'll remember you have 10 fingers. Of course, when we were little and we learned that there's 11, 12, we kind of said we don't have enough fingers to actually figure this out. Those people that are a little smarter started using what we know as our feet and included their toes. Of course, they only get to 20. But I remember back when I was in high school, the teachers would always make it very important to us. You guys have to learn math because no matter where you go, you're gonna use math. And of course, like every student, we didn't really care. That's not true. We're not gonna use math everywhere. There's gotta be somewhere where we don't use math. But it's something that's become part of our lives. No matter where you go, I've learned that we do use math. Computers, we use codes, there's numbers. In construction, we use math a lot of times. We gotta subtract, we gotta add, we gotta multiply, we gotta divide. In other words, we use it. There's people who are taking care of their figure, of their body, and want to eat healthy. They're counting how many calories they need to eat per day, and good for them. There's people that when it comes to money, we are great at math. We know it all because we want to make sure we get paid what we worked for. But anyways, I came to a conclusion when I found this verse that my teacher forgot about one subject, and I titled this message, God doesn't use math. I want to share with you in Judges chapter 7 verse 12. And it says, the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the other eastern people had settled in the valley, thick as locusts. Their camels could no more be counted than the sand on the seashore. Now this is very important. I want to teach you, I want to give you a little quick math class on this story. This story is about Gideon. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But Gideon was chosen by God to be a leader. He was going to use the people, God's people, in order to eliminate, to destroy the enemies we just read. Anyways, Gideon starts off with 22,000 people. So let's put this right here, 22,000 people. The story goes on to make this short. He's left with 10,000 of those people. How do we get to that point? Of course, we do subtraction. We figure out that 12,000 people left that moment, didn't continue, and he was left with 10,000. If I was Gideon, I would say with 22,000, I feel secure. I feel like, man, we really gonna knock this out of the park. We really gonna have the victory because I got a lot of people. And now, 12,000 leave and we're left with 10. And, we still feel kind of good, there's a good chance. 10,000, it's still a big number. But the story says that God tells him, I need you to test the people that you have. There's 10,000 people, and I need you to figure out who you can really count on. And the story comes that he could really count with 300. With 300 people. I don't know if you heard, we started out with 22,000, and now it's 300. What happened? We dropped. It did not increase. It decreased. If I was in the middle of what we just read, it said they were surrounded. They were thick as locusts. Even the camels, they compared to the sand in the sea. Can you count that? Of course not. So imagine this little group of 300 people there. But I'll tell you this, God does not use math, and that's what got me excited, because he's not like us. He doesn't use science. He doesn't use math to find or have good results. He uses his power. We have a marvelous God that does miracles. So in that moment, God used 300 people to take care of everyone that was around them, because God doesn't use math. There's another example about Jesus. Jesus is feeding 5,000 people. We know the story very well, but I was thinking a little bit to myself, and I said, how was this possible? The disciples come to Jesus and said, Jesus, we need to do something because these people are hungry. You can hear their stomachs. They're making it's a whole song out here because there's different tones of the stomach sounding. Jesus said, well, let's get stuff together and let's feed these people. And I would think, they're gonna grab some food from over there, but they gotta get enough for 5,000 people. And the guy comes and says, yeah, I got some food, 5 pieces of bread and 2 fishes. This is enough. And I think to myself, how is that possible? How can this feed them? I'm not I'm not the smartest guy, but I think not even the bones in the fish are enough for 100 people. How on earth was he gonna feed 5,000 people? And this is not including the women or the children. But that's a great example how God doesn't use math. He used something so small, something so insignificant to feed, to be a blessing to others. That only God can do. So if we feel insignificant or we feel that we don't have enough, God can use that to do enough. God can use that to be a blessing for others. God can use that to give you the victory. Now, my last example is Adam and Eve. Of course, one person plus one equals two. So if these two people ate from the forbidden fruit that they weren't supposed to eat, well, if 1 plus 1 equals 2, why weren't only those two affected? But of course, they took us with them, and now we have to pay the prices of sin. But here's where God not using math is amazing, because he used one person to do this one time that would affect our forever, will affect our always, is that he gave his son for us, who died on the cross for us, and he paid the price for us. So this one person changed what was before given to us by Adam and Eve. We were suffering because of them, but now we have salvation because of one person. So if you're thanking God in this moment, thank him because he doesn't use math. Thank him because he doesn't use science. Thank him because he does the impossible, and he's an expert at the impossible. So remember, we use math, we count, we use every part of math, but God doesn't. And when he realizes that he can do the impossible with a small amount, with something insignificant, that we really need to understand and be thankful that we have a God who does the miracles and a God who doesn't use math. Amen.
It doesn't matter if you don't have anyone by your side. The determination to go on and surpass yourself is up to you. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. We are Tu Voz es Mi Voz.